9 times out of 10.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to bring this meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, tonight. We have a couple of guests here that'd like to speak. Start with, the board has all received a copy of our minute from last month, and a resolution to accept or make any changes needed.
I'll make that motion.
Second? I'll second it. All in favor? Okay, requests to speak. We have a couple here tonight. I'm going to start though with have our local Boy Scouts here. Aaron Davis, who was working on his Eagle Scout, started a project for doing some work in the park. He created and repaired the existing step system going from the park up to the railroad. And we hope someday we'll be able to have the train back here so that we can use that. But it also works for an access to the trail. And I just wanted to acknowledge Taryn and the rest of you guys that did the work. 2 minutes. What's that?
Stan for being the leader of it.
Yes. We haven't gotten there.
You're so fucking slow.
And,
Speech, Stan.
and to all of the leaders that have helped with this project, Stanley and Alan both have been a huge help. So thank you very much.
Perfect job.
Came out very well. Okay, to start with, we have Robin Williams, who is a town council member from town of Middletown. She's also working on a special project that she wanted to talk to us and give us a few words about.
Yes, thank you so much, Alan, for having me, and thank you, Roxbury.
This was kind of short notice.
Yes,
That
I'm
was
sorry,
Robin
for switching today. I started talking about this project. I think it would benefit Roxbury residents, so I wanted to share. I am a Middletown Town Council member, but also a Margaretville citizen, and I observed an issue with people getting access to resources that are on the other side of the county, whether it's Office for the Aging, Veteran Affairs, Stellar Opportunities, really great programs that exist and have a lot of resources that people may not be aware of. So as I traveled around and as in my personal work, I work with people and they'll go, oh, I want to get over there, but whether it's transportation or the length of time it takes to get there, they were really struggling with getting to some of those resources. So I did a little think tanking with some people, and we came up with an idea for a central location on this side of the county in Margaretville that will be a satellite office for these agencies and organizations to come and work out of. So if you want to go to this location, okay, get excited. So if you want to go to this location, and what we're planning on doing is having a shared calendar, and the calendar, Stellar Opportunities can say, I'm going to be there once a month, or I'm going to be there 3 times a month. And that will be a calendar that people will be able to access through multiple points, whether it's online, in the newspaper, or by calling a phone number. You'll be able to hear what program is going to be there for the month. And then you can call that program directly to set your appointment or to make a plan. I'm really hoping to also engage with some support groups and meetings that would be able to happen, and also classes. So Cornell Cooperative offers tons of classes, and sometimes it's just a challenge of where they can do things. I also think having it in one location where there's consistently things offered, people will know that they can go there whether they miss it one time or need to go the next month. So we were excited through the Village of Margaretville. We applied for an O'Connor Foundation grant and we were awarded it. So now we're in the fundraising stage. So that's really exciting, but it's also getting people to be interested and want to go to these programs, because I can build it, but if nobody comes, it's not going to continue. So this is the first part of this phase. I want to thank Peg. Actually, she did help guide me throughout this, because I know she's a busy lady. So I was like, I'm going to I'm gonna field this one over here, but I just kept asking her questions. So we got that far, and now I'm just here to let people know about it, because I think Roxbury residents, especially even being further than Margaretville from those locations, would really benefit all the way down Route 30 and maybe around the corner a little bit. So I have the information. I have a QR code here. And the fun thing about QR codes is if you open your camera, you can actually scan it right from where you are. So I have this, I can pass this around. I will even leave it here if you want. I don't know if I'm going to stay for the whole meeting. Roxbury, all these issues don't concern me at the moment. But if you want to scan this and get some more information, I'll definitely hang out and you can pass through this. If you need a little tutorial, it's my favorite thing to do is help people with tech things. You just take out your camera, and if you hover it over the QR code, you see a little yellow link popped up. And if you click on that, it will take you directly to the website, which is under construction, but there is a donation. There's also a contact list that if you scroll down, you can go to fill out to be updated on whatever's coming, and also be a volunteer if you're interested, because I'm gonna need to sort 5,000 postcards and I would love some extra hands. So yes.
It's a fabulous idea, thank you. But I just wanted to tell you that about 20 years ago or more, Delaware County Drug Abuse Services had offices all over the county. Are you going to include anything from the mental health clinic?
Yes.
Everything?
So I actually, for the suggestion of, I got in touch with almost all of the human services agencies within the area, alcohol, drug abuse county council, ADEC, Fordu, NAMI, the mental health clinics themselves, but then also Western Catskill Community Revitalization, the health insurance companies, Fidelis, who, so having a space for all these people to come through, Delaware County Economic Development, CDO workforce for young folks, for train to work programs for young people. So there's going to be anything that you can think of that I don't have on my list already. Feel free to contact me and say, hey, I know a contact, do this person. That was like the second part of my spiel, is if you want to tell me anything right now, I'm happy to look them up and reach out to them. But yeah, we're definitely just in the building interest. I did survey all those people, and they all said that they were interested and willing to utilize the space. It was just a matter of getting the ball rolling. So I'm hoping to possibly have an open house at the end of October.
Where's the location?
So it's actually Main Street in Margaretville. It's currently the Outsiders Construction Company, formerly the CWC and formerly the Catskill Mountain News. It's kind of next to the Legion there. It is tucked back. They'd be moving their trucks, but the idea is that agencies would just come through one at a time. So like on one day, that agency would be there, and then the people who would come would be coming through just one at a time. And there's going to be a conference room. There'll be access to the building in the evening with a special code. So yeah, it just makes a nice spot right there.
Excellent.
Grand Gorge being on the very far tip of the county, it's about the same distance to Margaretville and Delhi.
I think it's a little further to go to Delhi. But so the beautiful thing of this is if we, if you make a blueprint for something, you can duplicate it somewhere else. You have that lovely community space there that I've been to actually just the other day. I met with somebody at the senior center. And if there's an office in there or a space that can be utilized, we just have to get these agencies to be willing to send staff out. So it's always going to be a staffing challenge, always, right? And then just reimbursing for gas and travel and time and things like that. But if they're being paid to sit in a cubicle in Delhi, if they could get a half hour, 45 minutes further and sit and be able to access more people in the community, that comes back around for grant writing for them, showing that they're reaching more people. So if you can come the way up 30, give this a try. We'll build up some people, and then if we say, hey, let's duplicate the same project in Grand Gorge. There will be. So I still have to purchase a phone. That's the idea. The idea is that you'd be able to call one central line. It would tell you, what's happening that month. And then it would say press 1 to contact Office for the Aging, and you'll be directed there. This will be a non-staff building for now. The other program is happening in there, the construction and everything, but not construction in the building, but the construction being run from the building. But this would be a location where people, the workers would go to and access for the code. So it won't be like a 24-hour place that, Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I really think I'll give you more information for the board and share the future.
Thank you.
Oh, and editor direct. It'll be like a postcard everywhere we're at.
Okay, moving on. We have another request to speak. Kendra Williams would like to speak with us about,
Yes,
the great things he's doing to do the building on the corner.
sure, yes.
Former corner
Sort
store
of.
years ago. Is now back to a store again.
Back to it, okay. So thanks for the opportunity to speak with you all about the intersection of Main Street and Bridge Street in Roxbury. I know we've talked about it before. It's been brought up about redesigning this intersection before. But I think we're in a unique situation now that we probably haven't seen for 50 years, in that all of the buildings now, the commercial spaces on those corners are all retail businesses now. So we generate a lot of foot traffic, a lot of car traffic. And I think we need to look at that intersection again and figure out what we can do to make it safer for pedestrians and vehicles, possibly parking. So that was dramatic. So I called the DOT to find out, you probably already know this, but I didn't, to find out what the procedure is for making recommendations to revise the intersection. And they said that they defer to the towns to make recommendations on whatever we want to do. And they would take a look at that and make sure it meets their current design criteria. So what I'd like to get out of maybe this meeting tonight, after I show you some things, is a commitment to take a look at the intersection again and make some recommendations to the DOT after a future meeting.
I want to remind everyone of the backstory. We explored this 30 years ago and they told us there wasn't enough casualties.
Yeah.
So my husband gratefully said, would you like to sacrifice yourself for the project? I of course declined that invitation, but it sounds like DOT is at a prime place now, so it would be a really good time to make a recommendation based on some ideas that Andrew has come forth. Just get in touch with DOT and say, we're in. And
I
go from
think
there.
I've had some conversations with him as well, and I agree that there's some things that need to be changed there. The way that all came about, where your store or where the watershed is, and that curb that goes down through there was actually Main Street.
Right.
And when they took the old hotel out, they moved it over to the road, but they left that curb and they left that ditch, and all that stuff there, which makes access for those parking spots rather difficult.
It does, and I think that
So-
it's built for speed and ease of
Yes.
use by the trucks and emergency vehicles, which is all fine. But now the town is different than it was at that point, and I think there's a way we can accommodate the big vehicles, emergency vehicles and pedestrians. I think if we do it right, we can just do it with paint. If we do it in that way, then there's really no or little cost to Roxbury itself. The DOT will cover painting the stripes on the road. So I wanted to, is there a right way to come up with?
Sure.
So I just took a look at the existing conditions of the intersection. So, we've got offset perpendicular streets with Vega Mountain Road and Bridge Street coming into Route 30 there, Main Street. But we have all this undefined space there at that intersection. People park at weird angles. They're parking, I request they're parking diagonally in front of my store like they used to. Some people want to park parallel. There's people crossing north-south diagonally by foot. That intersection is quite a mess. I think if we can just define where the roads need to be, we can get some sort of resolution there at that intersection, make it safer for everyone to cross. So if you look at figure 2 on the page, what I did there is I took the minimums of the path of travel for the highway and the cross streets, which is 14 feet on that lane, which is the existing width of the lane as you go further up the highway. You see all that sort of lighter gray area that's just kind of leftover space, and that's where people are parking. They're walking across, they're sort of crossing at non-marked crosswalks there, which I think is really unsafe. People coming out of Vega Mountain Road and Bridge Street have to pull way into the intersection past the stop sign to see the oncoming traffic, to see the cross traffic. Because of the cars that are parked in the place the stop signs are and stop lines, which are non-existent, people don't really know where to stop. So that's one thing we should do, is figure out where the stop line should be, so people can actually see you left and right. Flip the page, if you don't mind, in figure 2. There just shows the existing businesses now that are retail at that intersection. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 retail businesses, includes the post office, which generates a lot of foot traffic and a lot of car traffic too. Here's Grizzly at night. You know, they're a nighttime business, and of course Chappies. So you get people that have had a couple out wandering in the street. I see when I'm at Good Grocer closing Saturday night, I see people in the street, you know, talking and laughing and stuff like that. And, you know, there's big trucks, as we all know, that come down that street, and even late at night. So we need to make sure that it's clearly delineated where the pedestrian areas are and the traffic areas. Figure 4 down the bottom of that page. Something else that we don't talk about often is the Airbnb units that are there, that retail core. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Airbnb units now at that intersection. And those people don't necessarily understand kind of where they can walk, where they can cross, where they can park. So that really makes it different than it used to be. We all know some homes there at that intersection also just down the street. We're former rentals, and now we're full-time tenants, full-time owners. So we just want to make sure that all the people that are walking from those homes or those Airbnbs to the businesses can cross safely and park.
And there's obviously an increase in foot traffic from the Roxbury. You know,
Right,
they're,
yeah.
they're forever walking, and that's, you know, 90 people.
Exactly, 90 people. They're coming to Watershed in the morning, they're going to Chappies, they're going to Pierce Grizzly at night. So, and again, if you ever stay like, I cross that street diagonally 10 times a day, Peter and I do, at least. Diagonally, that's where our businesses are. And we see people wandering all over, they don't know where to cross. Some of them cross there at the Memorial Park. They walk, the sidewalk ends, they climb up the hill, go by the flag. They have no idea what to do. If you stay on that figure 4 for a second, you can see kind of how the streets, since they're offset, it's really difficult, as we all know, to cross from Bridge Street to Vega. You can't see either side, left or right. And then people don't really know, especially if you're not familiar with the area, know, am I supposed to be turning, or am I going straight? Am I signaling? What do I need to do? You know, people that have lived here a long time just go up through, because they understand kind of how traffic goes, but those people that are visiting have no idea. Flip the page to figure 5. This was kind of interesting, I thought. You know, I thought, okay, well, we don't want to reduce the width of Route 30 because we've got the big trucks, we've got emergency vehicles, but Margaretville has an even more constricted situation on Route 30, and it's similar in a weird way. So they've got offset cross streets there, Route 30 going through the middle there, at least turning there at the corner, and at least in Margaretville, the buildings are hemming it in. And that's their issue. They still allow parking on both sides of the street. It really narrowed down to almost one lane of traffic there at that busy intersection. If we're talking something in Roxbury and we just do it with painting the stripes on the road to make it more clearly defined, then emergency vehicles can still drive over the paint lines. Big trucks can go wide over the paint lines too. That's fine, doesn't really matter. But at least it would define where people can park and where people can cross. So if we come up with, what I'm asking you for tonight is to commit to reviewing this again, and then coming up with a solution at a further meeting that we can recommend to the DOT. I don't want to make any suggestions, but I did do a drawing here at the bottom, figure 6, that just shows if we kind of use the existing, how people are using the intersection already and just paint it. That's sort of what it would look like. So people parallel parking, diagonally parking, and then it even gives you the opportunity in front of the Pierce Grizzly competitor, but sorry, to maybe have some sidewalk dining.
So Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you said that if it's just paint, that DOT will incur that expense.
DOT will incur the expense for painting the stripes on the side of the road. The town, if we stripe any parking, the town would have to pay for the parking.
But they would also pay for the crosswalk.
Correct. They said if there's any sort of infrastructure work that's required, of course, then they would need to go to Albany and get that next year. But they said it could be within a year if we.
What I think is probably the best start for this, and I know you want to wait, to make suggestions to the state, but I think we really need to get some buy-in from them on what they would suggest as well.
Right.
Because we already have another issue there that we've got to deal with, and I just got a letter the other day with Chappies. So, we've got to, they're out, the state wants, doesn't like where,
Sidewalk thing.
where that outside deck is, they want that moved. They're taken out of there. So there's other issues along there, and I think the first step, if we were gonna do any of this, I think we should probably schedule a meeting with somebody from the state.
To do that. I have the name,
Kind of, is it Scott?
Susan Pitley. She was the one I spoke to. Or tried to speak to.
She's the crosswalk coordinator.
Yeah.
She's far more, has a bigger heart than the guy who told me to lie in the road.
We just paint dead bodies on the
I love her too.
Scott Nowak is our regional engineer,
Okay, right.
and he would be one of the ones that would be intimately involved in this.
Okay.
So let me talk with him and see if we can set something up.
Is there ever been an accident?
Yes, Can we like put this like at the top of the wish list?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think it's something that should be dealt with.
Yeah, I don't think it's that complicated in terms of a solution. I think just making sure it happens is the important thing.
I mean, I've been after the state for a while, and we desperately need to get Main Street.
They have to, they would be punished. And so the court found both explicit threats made by
Staff there, I'm sorry about that. We desperately need to get a repaving down on Main Street, 'cause it's so rough, and
Yes,
trucks go through there and hit those low spots, and makes people's windows shake in their houses as you go up Main Street.
well, you know,
So that's another issue that we've got to deal with. And I think we need to look at the whole picture of how to deal. I understand exactly what you're saying here, and I agree. with a
I
lot
think
of it.
if we can just do the striping sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
If we have to wait until there's funding appropriated for paving or any other sort of curve.
Well, that's a ways down the road. I know that's not gonna happen very well. But I think we need to get their buy-in as far as what we're thinking of, and kind of get some suggestions from them.
That was the recommendation that I asked them, can we just give you a napkin sketch, sort of a general idea, and you let us know if we're in the right ballpark, and they said, yes, that's. how to-
Yeah, that's what you've given us here, I think would be more than enough.
Sure,
There, perfect.
sure,
To get started with them and show them what we want to do.
sure, great. So will you be able to
Yeah.
set that up, or do you want me to call? Or
Yeah, but I'm not sure who the other girl is you were talking about.
I can try to
Try to do it through her.
She's an analyst, design analyst.
Okay, so the one I always work with, as I said, was our regional engineer.
Okay. She seems to be the one that sort of maybe gives if you spoke to her, or gives suggestions.
And maybe she would have her to the two, but.
Okay.
As I said, anything that we're gonna do with the roads, whether even the striping, is all gonna go through the engineering.
Right.
So they're the ones that are gonna do this.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Okay. Oh. Double duty tonight. Okay.
Thanks for your.
All right, well, thank you very much, guys. Karen, Presley. Okay, let's move right on and try to get through this fairly quickly if we can. Water and sewer, Chris Mattice is not available tonight. He said that, if anybody has any questions, or anything for him, please contact him. Kobe, I see that you're on, if you want to give us a brief update.
So yeah, with the, what is it, with Alpet Denver Sewer, we did, install the new VFD and fix the dialer, so that's all working again. And then at Roxbury Sewer, the forest main, the part that needs to be done by hand, that's done. I think John Bubek just has to come and finish his part. He started his part though, and he did get the side by side out Saturday morning.
I got unstuck finally, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do want to thank the town, the highway department for coming out and trying to get it unstuck. That was, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much all the updates I have, unless if you have any questions or.
No, I don't. Well, they've gotten, the brush hogging program, I don't know if you heard Mike. They've gotten a path down through there, and that's where they got their UTV stuff down there, but it's very wet. So Henry is working on, a budget proposal for when we do our next year's budget. Try to build some money in there for culverts and do other things, so it can be more readily kept up. Right now, it's pretty wet. Okay, thanks, Toby.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, moving on. I don't think we have anything from the planning board. We can do something we don't. Building and grounds, well, Bill, while you're here, I did have, we had some people when we were in Grand Gorge last week talking about, or last month, talking about the parking lot out there. There's still some rough spots and it needs to be swept. It's all gravels and things like that.
The Civic Center parking lot?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have been out there, or do anything with it yet, or.
We swept it earlier in the year, but we could hit it again. Sure.
And the chunks of asphalt.
Oh, right, yeah.
So we talk about repaving it.
Well, we talked about possibly there's some, I guess there's some broken up asphalt spots there. I don't know if you guys can use some
Along the building.
cold patch in there and put it back.
Yeah,
So
we could look at it and see.
Around the ramp.
Chunks of asphalt along the building there that people can't walk around the car because there's asphalt. You've got to climb over these chunks of asphalt in the parking area.
Right.
I don't know, but they must have been moved.
Plowing, though.
Problems. You'll
Sure.
see it when you get there.
Well, I'm wondering, like, they were saying, the ramp there, I don't know whether we could put full patch on the other side of that lip there.
Is that the ramp that goes the main entrance where? Yeah, let me look at it and see.
it's settled, it's kind of twisted.
Yeah,
like
and
a
it's
bridge
up
there.
on one end worse than the other.
Sure,
Definitely like that.
maybe one day, Ed, I can meet you out there and we can
Yeah.
go over all that.
The broken chunks are, I don't know whether it's a sidewalk, but it's close to the wall of the building.
Okay,
I mean, I could go and pick them up. Anybody
almost
could
did.
do
I
it and
almost
stick them in a shopping bag and take them to the dump, but we're not supposed to have to do that. So you can't walk there safely.
Anything else? What do you think we'll do with grounds?
There was some stuff here, the Mercy light, did that get fixed?
I don't know.
That one doesn't go on
That one
still.
doesn't work still.
On the topic of buildings and grounds, does that include the discussion we had last month about the sidewalk? Would that be under this heading here?
Not really, no. That's, sidewalks are a whole different issue. We've got to address that as a whole package.
The reason I was bringing it up primarily was because I wanted to give credit to the Martins, to Mike and Steve and Paula, who have swept sidewalk area in town 2 weekends running, so it's a lot better than it was. They also addressed a lot of debris that was underneath the pole. So we're very grateful for the work they've done.
And I know we've had a lot of rain, a lot of runoff, things like that. Us gravel around the sidewalks. It's happening a lot.
There was, you had said that we had like 3 extra islands on this year.
Yeah, I think there's some extra ones back in that corner still, isn't there, Diane?
Islands on this.
That you're not using.
2, I think there's 2. I was wondering if, Bill, when you come up, if we could bring them for the work food.
sure.
They're heavy, they're those.
The fireproof ones.
Alan says you have to have a book of protection.
They're heavy. That's right.
We don't have any other ones up to the old town clerk? Probably not.
Anthony has some that we left behind, so I would say check with Anthony. He's using all of them, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
either way, we can figure something out.
You can move them, they're just heavy, you can't lift them. So $1 or something.
That move. Did we?
What about the LEDs about like the front? Is that good?
Yes, I talked to Mike about that, we'll have that before the election. And flag, or flagpole today, Mike said they're doing it this week. So, we've got everything here now, change that.
What about the lease in the basement?
That we haven't dealt with too much. It's just a block on. Water. You did a cover over the one. didn't you?
Yeah, I've done, I put covers on the two outside. That, I guess that's
That really did make a difference, but where we're getting the water now.
I think there's a
It's not
low spot out
associated
there.
with a window, it's actually on this wall over here. And if Mike is coming to do the flagpole, that's where all of our electronics are on that wall.
Gotta look at the electric.
So, yeah, that's,
I think that there might be even like a post spot there too.
could be. But at least it's not a window, so, but it's a problem.
Okay, next. Bill, did you have anything right away that I want to go over?
Nothing really,
We've got to do executive session. a little later.
nothing really pressing, just been working on Cal Grant Road, getting that ready, fixing that all up. Other than that, nothing really. Helping other towns out, finish up oil and stoning.
How was the flooding this weekend, on Friday night?
Bed Hollow, yeah, we had some issues up there. Two big culverts got plugged, which we were up there that night to unplug them, but today we cleaned up the debris. We've got to go back up there and fix some shoulders, but no major damage to the roads.
We had a lot of rain over that.
They must have, it was crazy. We turned on the George Lawrence Road and the ditches are, what, 6 foot deep on the one side, and they were right full to the top of the road. It was, yeah, almost like Irene over, just in that one area though.
Yeah, it's funny, my house just over the hill from the other side, there was no rain.
Yeah, my house, it sprinkled.
I didn't even have a
That's what we had here.
Yep, I was down by Hawkinsville by garage and it didn't even rain, just all noise.
Yeah.
No, other than that,
Hey Stephanie, what do you have for us?
Oh, okay,
Try to get through these kind of quickly.
yeah, so, we're moving right along, we're right on schedule with our, modeling for the revaluation update for next year, and, I spoke with our regional representative, John Wallen, who actually supported us, back in our first major reval back in 2015. And, so speaking of which, we're meeting with John tomorrow again, right after our regular meeting, and we're gonna be having 2 informational meetings, one here and one in Roxbury. Excuse me, one here, one in Grand Gorge. Looking at you, I'm looking at you, Joyce, but I'm saying Roxbury, yeah. So, just like we did in 2015, we'll do that, little show and tell. Bob and I will do a PowerPoint, and again, John Wallum, who's the regional director of the Office of Real Property Tax Services, will be in attendance, and he'll give a presentation also. Kind of, do a little show and tell with the reval, why is it important, why do you do an update? Also state law to keep your role at 100%, all good things. So we're real excited about that. And we'll be announcing that shortly, and then we'll post all that information on our page on our website. Our photo issues are ongoing, a bunch of us have kind of banded together to help each other figure out what's going on so that we don't have to, go to IT and, hang people. So Roxbury, we're still fine. Roxbury is still okay, but, every couple of days, another town falls. It's ridiculous. So, it's unacceptable, besides ridiculous. We did have, back in August, we did have these 3 small claims hearings. We've only had a decision on 1. We're still waiting as of today for the other 2. So, hopefully I'll have no news. There was a modest reduction on 1 of them, and the other 2, we hope that the hearing officer read our appraisals and as well as our comparables, and will determine that those 2 owners are fair with this test. And of course, I did send y'all several emails about the ongoing building without a permit stuff, so I won't bore you with that, because I've already sent you pictures of all that stuff. That's it.
Okay. Peg, we don't have anybody here from the park that needs to give us a written report. I know that they're about here in the end as far as events.
And filling up in 2024 already, so if you want any events
Yeah.
in 2024, they're filling up already. And,
She's got a lot of weekends booked up. Okay, Brookside, Peg,
About comp plan.
plan wherever you're at.
All right. So you all saw the boards up front when you walked in. This is a townwide comprehensive plan. There's no separation of anything. It's townwide. The first public information meeting will be held via Zoom. And that will be this Wednesday. You can access the link on the town website. There will be follow-up public input sessions throughout the entire process. This is about participation. So the committee's role is to offer places for you people to participate. The consultant will gather that information, and before anything goes forward, it's presented to the town at a public hearing in draft format. Nancy, you've been through this before. So if there's any questions, you can, or you have comments, you can leave that right on the town website. Okay, so Zoom's at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, the 13th. Also, on the next day, there's another public input session for the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, which is the partnership between Grand Gorge and Roxbury. We applied last year, it was declined. We're going back in with some very small revisions because it came really close. So there's a public information Zoom on that on Thursday. There's also a DRI, Downtown Revitalization Initiative board here with lots of sticky notes. You can write your ideas down, things like that. We'll do our best to fold it into the application. What you should know about the DRI, that is, if it's funded, the state comes back in with planners to work with both communities to identify the projects that can move forward. So it's not that whatever we put in the application is written in stone. They come back in and you almost start from scratch. So be prepared to dig your heels in if we get the money, okay? Any questions on that?
what time's that?
6 o'clock.
What's the total amount that you're requesting? Is there?
It's a $10 million award if we get awarded. 500,000 of that goes to the consultants that come in and help us do this. So it's the state 500,000 to consultants to guide the community over the course of 2 years. So, and they're from Pace University and some, pretty substantial planners. So it's 9.5 million in project funding.
And how is that divided among the projects?
It's divided, the consultant works with the community to identify the projects that are ready to go. And then, they want to see things happening within a couple of years.
Yep.
So there's no, this gets that and that gets that. It starts from scratch again with the way the projects are developed and distributed. Any other questions on that?
So we have to stay to decide what projects, but then actual workers, companies, engineers.
It all has to go out to bid. Yeah, it all has to go out to bid. But just for yourself there, sidewalks in both communities are part of the application. You know, we're trying to show, look, we're ready. There's need, there's lots of things going on. We also, you know, yeah, there's the mixed use buildings in Grand Gorge in that corner are all being slated for rehab. So let's keep our fingers crossed. You know, sometimes when there's money in the pot, people tend to act a little bit more ambitiously. How's that, Miss? Did I do good?
Nice work, yes.
Just checking. I just wanted to make sure I'm on point here. I just want to revisit the Scout project for a minute because this is a kind of really cool follow-up. If you recall, the steps going up to the rail track was originally cleaned up by Frank Bibbo's class and my son, class of 2006, who is now a father. I told him that the Scouts did that, and Peggy Benedetto from the Catskill Center wants to get together with that class of 2006, who all now have their own kids, to continue the cleanup of the King's Walkway and terraces up. It can go as far as to Woodchuck Lodge. So that might be a really good follow-up project to what the Scouts did. I think that's pretty cool. So another generation moves forward. Do you have the resolutions?
Yes.
One of the resolutions that we'd like to include in the DRI application is to explore a complete streets program, which is helpful for sidewalks, things like that. Climate smart community program and an age-friendly community program. This is part of the supportive policies component of the application, which is also being revised to include the fact that we're updating the comprehensive planning and process. Anything else?
Good.
Okay, I'm done.
Resolution.
Robin,
I just have a question. Something came up in the last meeting about a moratorium on any kind of development projects until we get through certain aspects of the comprehensive plan. Has that been decided or?
Not.
I'm sorry. Well, actually, Kevin said you could put a moratorium on
Specific projects possible. You can't put a moratorium on everything that happens down. If this board's ready to do that. Really.
I thought that Kevin thought there could be a moratorium put on site plan, anything that requires site plan, because the comprehensive plan is under the process of being updated. So that doesn't put a moratorium on everything. And then, of course, there's the opportunity for a waiver, right? That if you think that, you know, you need to get this done before the moratorium is over, you submit a waiver to the town board.
I think we need to get farther along in my opinion.
Okay.
Farther along on the comp plan.
I'm just telling you, I understood. That was my conversation with Kevin. He said, you know, you can put a moratorium on anything that requires site plan as long as you have an opportunity for a waiver request.
In the event something comes along that is something that does not fit anything in Roxbury, we always have the right to do it. Do a moratorium on specific projects. So
Okey doke.
at this point in the meeting, and I know we're gonna hold off, I don't know how many residents we have that have discussion that they'd like to talk about. I do have a couple guys from the highway here that we need to talk with. They've all got to get out of here before 6, so I need a break and go into an executive session for a little while here. If we can.
I make a motion to go in executive session.
1 second.
I'm sorry. We're still on. See.
Okay, need a request to come out of executive session.
Second it.
Results of the executive session for no decisions made at this point. Especially concerning employee issues. Okay, we've gotten through most of the departments. Under old business, we've got a few things here. Highway contract managers we're discussing. Fire inspector. Still do not have anybody lined up right now, so we can't do anything there yet. Person I thought was gonna take it over this weekend. It's still looking. And that kind of ties in with building permit fees as well.
Yeah, we always found that out.
We have to, adjust our building permit fees and violation fees, which is not going to require an amendment to the building law. But I don't want to do that until I know that's somebody I don't want to be prior to inspections. Cell tower lease and with Denver Water is moving forward. We have about a final contract and I'll be. You guys, I believe, have already given the permission to sign that when it's finalized. So we're getting very close to finalizing that. And we had some changes with this audit, the CDBG audit recommendations that we have to do. We haven't that totally finalized yet either. We did hear back, correct me if I'm wrong, Diane, with this low income household water assistance program vendor agreement. Young Summer did review it and they said that they didn't see any issues where we should go forward with it. There were no strings attached, so. Right. We can move forward with that.
So do you want to do a resolution on that or a motion?
Yeah. We can do. Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make that.
Move forward with that. A second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right.
And the fair housing law, we have not done much with that either. That's still pending. Update. Did receive a couple of letters. Renee is still here. Concerning the Labor Day celebration, we received a letter from Mike Martin. He is interested in cleaning the Civic Center. As you know, Cheryl has retired. If anybody has any problems with that, I do would like Mike to take that position and do that.
It's a resolution.
Taking this, yes.
Get hearing aids.
We need, that's in our budget process for this year. We do.
I'm sitting next to him and I can't hear
I need to do a PA system. I admit.
Microphone would be nice,
Yeah.
just a microphone, yeah.
We're gonna do a microphone. We have to.
Should we buy you one?
Huh?
We'll buy you one.
I think we should have karaoke.
Well, that would be nice, yeah.
Do that.
Do you really want that?
Part of it.
I do, I really do.
Okay, we're at the point, I guess, do we have anybody that would like to speak to us? Renee, go ahead.
Okay, two things. One is, I just thought maybe Hiram Davis would be excellent for our fire person because he does such a great job in.
I'm not sure, he's a name that I haven't not had a chance to talk with him, but
It's Middletown.
yeah, he's also the full-time inspector in Middletown. I don't know that he has the time to do that.
Okay, because I spoke to him once and he said he'd be open, but I don't know
Yeah,
now.
I have not talked to him about it yet, but his name did come up. We
Okay.
certainly considered that.
Thank you. And there's one more thing. I know you weren't at the meeting. Because I watched the meeting, but resolution number 115 for Delaware County, occupancy tax approval Department of Economic Development. The taxes were slated for tourism, for short-term rentals. And now part of the funding is going to be used to fund remodeling and renovation for people who had short-term rentals for 3 years or more. And I believe it violates the 14th Amendment of Equal Protection. Because I mean, if you think about it, they're doing something for them, and also, do motels get the same treatment? Because they're giving bid tax. And the other problem with this is, let's just say someone who gets remodeling money then sells their home. They get more money for their home. I sell my home, I don't get more money for my home. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I'm not sure that I totally understand what their reasoning is and why they're doing it. There is a committee, it's not just supervisors that decides where the bed tax monies are spent. There's a whole group, maybe Peggy, you can give me a better
Well,
idea.
I know that, the program was opened as part of the tourism initiative, not just
Right.
for short-term rentals, but for motels as well.
Yeah, it's available. They've
And-
done work for motels and hotels.
I know that it's, and I would hope the county is doing the same, that if somebody received funding that improved a real property, there's a recapture if they sell within a regulatory period. So the money is returned if they sell because they may do.
Well,
exactly-
no one said that at the supervisors meeting. You can watch it online.
I'm just saying, this is how it normally works with
Right.
state
What I
funding.
say with the supervisors meetings, that there is a separate committee that recommends
Right,
where the monies are
right,
spent.
but they approved, it was resolution
Yeah,
115.
How would you get in touch with that committee?
Well, it's the supervisors that vote on it.
yeah, we vote on it as
They vote
supervisors.
on it.
So
Yes.
that's just, you would send a letter to, I wrote to the newspaper about it, but I didn't send it.
Well, it's through our economic development committee, supervisors, is who you would want to talk with about that. And I'm not on the economic development committee, so I can't really speak to that, but I can find out more about it if you'd like to see what the reasoning was. I will say that short-term rentals generate a big share of bed tax for the county, a very big share. So they're all.
But isn't the bed tax supposed to go back to the town?
It
No.
doesn't.
That's supposed to go to tourism.
Those
Really
tourists,
good
but they pick where the tourists.
It's the
go.
tourism committee decides where the monies get spent, and that's one of the problems I do have with the whole program is that
But
But
it's
they,
going right back into the same process. It's being-
the biggest share of the revenue from the short-term rentals comes from this end of the county, Roxbury, Margaretville,
And it goes to the other end.
and it ends up in Sydney and Walton and all the other areas.
well, legislators were complaining that they thought that some of the money should come back to the town for things like, since they have to be inspected, places have to be inspected, and the cost for EMS and, garbage and all those things.
Yeah, that's it's a very logical excuse. And as I said, I have questioned some of this stuff with the county and you don't get very far with the tourism.
So they do several programs. This was new this year, this capital.
They allowed that
It's
this
new
year.
this
was the
year.
first year they've done it.
Traditionally, they put out a call for applications to municipalities, not-for-profits, for tourism-related events, activities, marketing, things like that.
Oh, that's fine.
So, yeah, this was new this year, and I don't know much about it either.
It was a new program. They just opened it up to allow short-term rentals to be able to.
And motels,
Yeah.
lodging is really what it was about.
There are some kind of gray areas about how that program all gets administered. Many of us on the board of supervisors have questions about it, but don't get a lot of answers about it.
So do you have legal counsel that looks at this?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
It's
they
not illegal what they're doing. It's just that, as I said, the committee kind of decides where they're gonna spend and what projects get funded and what ones don't. There's no real logic. At least no real logic where that goes. My opinion is that the communities that are generating the biggest share of the tax should be getting the biggest share of the benefit.
Correct.
And, it doesn't seem to work that way.
No, I'm set, that's.
Unfortunately, and I've commented and questioned on this before, but it doesn't seem to work that way.
Well, there's always the question, besides legal, is it ethical? I think that's what some of us are feeling that it's not.
That is an ongoing issue. Peg and I've had this discussion before. But yes, that is definitely something that we looked at. Sure.
Is it true that, my recollection from last month's meeting that it was voted that they put new windows into the dining room in the Grand Gorge Civic Center?
We didn't vote on new windows. We're looking into the
Oh,
possibility and trying to figure out how to fund it. But
Also on that, I do have calls coming on Wednesday.
Oh, do
I
you?
gotta meet
Good.
with them.
okay,
They're gonna come and give me an estimate on.
Yeah.
And I also.
I think the last meeting, that's what we talked about. We were gonna try to get some estimates, get an idea. What it would be.
I've gone into that, and I also mentioned the judges.
Yeah, the work that needs to be done in there as
We'll
well.
see if
Extra.
they come up with something there. They probably ought,
Well, I think we'd have to put it out to bid anyway, because the
Yeah.
numbers would be big enough to be required. to
oh
bid it,
yeah,
so.
I think the numbers are gonna be scary.
But that's what we need to, as I said, we do still have some money left.
I haven't made an appointment with them, I'm looking for other places to call, I don't know who else.
Can it be a private company or?
Well,
Well,
I'm like, you can't call.
if the work is done, we'd have to put it out through our procurement, which means anything over 3,000 has to go out to bid.
I mean, the building looks like circa 1960, you know what I'm saying? If you're gonna do it, you
Nineteen
do it.
fifty,
Like here.
Thank you.
That's it.
The windows look like they are.
that's what I told
Can't
the
do
guy.
that.
Change-
Henderson replacement windows.
Changing the windows would probably
That'd be
save us.
only the
over
best,
10 years just
5,000
to keep them safe.
40% for a year.
No, it isn't, it's, yeah, but 4 windows is 10 grand. Yeah, that's like custom.
Okay, anybody else? Robin?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about, you have an item about the budget. You're gonna be looking at the budget. So I just wanted to, if you could walk us through the process of how this works, and is there at any time when residents have a say or can make suggestions about the budget before it's voted on?
Absolutely. We have a
Okay,
budget here.
can you go through the process? so
Yeah,
that
it's,
we all know?
when the budget is out, we get it, I think, what is it, Diane, the end of the month?
The budget needs to be to the town clerk by September 30th. We're gonna have a budget workshop. That's when the board decides what they want in the budget, and then there's a public hearing scheduled at the November meeting. That's for public comment. Okay,
And then the
and,
board votes on it after the public hearing.
okay, and do you make changes in the budget if, depending on what the comments are from residents?
We look
Does
at,
that
we
happen?
certainly listen to the comments, yeah. and then
Okay.
look
Okay.
to Make a decision after that, whether we need additional changes.
Okay, and the budget will be available on the website?
As
By
soon
the
as we
30th?
have a
As soon as I have a preliminary,
preliminary draft
which
budget.
is
we'll
after the
put it on
budget
website.
workshop. After the budget workshop. Okay, and is the budget workshop something that's for you guys, or is that open,
It's
or
an open,
still open
it's an open.
public? You can come, but it's basically for the town board to decide. Okay, can we see the budget at that point, or no? No, you see the preliminary. That's after the budget workshop. That's when they make all the changes. Right, but do we see the, can we
And
see
we
the
will not be
preliminary?
taking comments from the public at the
Yes,
public
the
budget
preliminary
workshop.
will be on the website, and it will be available here. Okay.
And just so anybody knows, you're welcome to come and listen, but we will not be entertaining comments from the
Is that the
public
9:30
at the
meeting?
workshop.
The September 30th, is that the?
No,
There
meeting?
is no meeting on. That's when she has.
Oh, so when is the
We'll
workshop?
have a budget workshop on.
It's gonna be, it's on the agenda, right on the second page. It's gonna be October 3rd at 4 o'clock.
Oh, yes, I see, thank you.
But that's a workshop mainly for the board to go through the budget themselves. And make whatever changes we need before we come up with a preliminary budget, which will go out to the public.
Okay. Just one other thing. Have you guys, thought of, I know money is tight for everybody, but in terms of maybe the properties that the town has, that could maybe be sold to get money for the town. I'm thinking of the town hall, the old town hall. There's a garage in the back of someone's house in Roxbury, and I don't know what else, but you guys.
The
probably
garage
do.
in the back of someone's house in Roxbury is our former town. highway
Garage,
maintenance facility.
Former,
It's completely used for storage, very, very much used. The highway department has a lot of equipment they put in there seasonally. And parts and pieces and everything else, so it's definitely still used.
okay,
I agree, it should look a little better than it does, and we need to work on that, but it's not anything we can really at this point look at selling. Without we were to build something else to replace it. So,
and the town hall, the old town hall.
and at the town hall, as we've discussed before, and I'm not gonna get into it again tonight, but we discussed before that. At this point, we don't have any plans to sell the town hall. We've thought of some uses for it, as you know, with historic and some of the other things, but no, at this point, it's not something that we're considering selling, or at least as far as I know, not. So,
Are there other, properties that the town
not
owns?
really.
Yeah.
It's about- The civic center is about the only other than some of the water properties and things like that that the town owns, but they're all water protection districts. What's that?
Yeah, I saw.
Well, that's under lease right now with the railroad stuff. That's another building the town owns.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Moving on, resolutions. Does anybody has any other? Comments? All right. We have the town clerk monthly report, supervisor's report, assessor's report, water district report, justice court. We got a note here, no interest, no invoice yet. We haven't gotten that yet, okay. And Parks Department status report we received. We did not receive an report from our building inspector or for dog control this month. So I need a resolution for all of those.
Who was that?
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And the insurance for the MVP dental, we will go, I guess, with what we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep it with the new health, or with the new dental and I envision, we're gonna keep the same program that we have with the dental now. In other words, it's gonna be for the employee, the additional ones. The town will cover the cost of the employee, like we talked about.
So we're not changing providers.
But are you going with Excelis Dental
Yes.
and New Vision
Yes,
plan?
yes, yes.
And you're gonna cover just for the employee?
Yeah, just like we're doing. Now. And at the end of the day, it's really, money wise, it's just about a wash.
To make that a resolution for that.
Yes.
I'll make that.
Second,
No, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we talked about Tara Davis. We have I'd like to, for the minutes, at least have a resolution. Thanking and supporting him for all the work that he did.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second.
favor? And we need to advertise for fuel oil bids to be due October 6th at 2 p.m. That's our next board meeting. Resolution for that. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We need to schedule the budget workshop, which we just talked about, will be October 3rd at 4 p.m.
Make that motion.
You said you could be here. Or
Yeah.
you can do it for, okay. Okay. And this fair housing resolution that we talked about, we still don't have. We still don't have a final draft of what we're gonna do with that.
No,
Right?
this is a resolution that Lindsay sent.
Oh. I'm sorry. Didn't have anything to say.
In your packet, you had.
All right, so we do need a resolution. I was thinking something else. All right. Yeah. We did have it on. We do need a resolution for that. I'll make the motion. And second?
That's the one from August 18th.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I'll second.
Favor?
Aye.
And we need to appoint a fair housing officer, which I don't think we have so far yet. And we are gonna be hiring a new cleaning person at the Civic Center to replace Cheryl Hinckley, who retired. Mike Martin has expressed an interest in it. He's there at the senior meals all day long anyway. So we need a resolution to approve that. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we need a resolution to fill the vacancy on the highway department. For recommendation from our highway superintendent. Rich Davis.
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Fill the vacancy.
And you all received the information from Patty Davis on their water account. We put a new meter in there. We gotten enough time, Diane, to find out if that's.
We've only had the one reading.
So we're gonna wait before we do that until we get some more
That's
information.
up to you.
I make a motion to.
I think we hold off on that. Yeah. We were gonna let that run a little bit and make sure that it was matching to what it was doing, so. And we need the resolution for the DRI application for Drain Gorge and Roxbury. I'll make that motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Peg, we talked a little bit about the Complete Streets program. Do we need to do a resolution to have you guys look into that, or?
Yeah, Kevin supplied a good resolution we can include with the DRI application.
Okay.
So that's what you
The
should.
one
ask
that Kevin,
about.
yeah. the one that
After I
Kevin-
reread it again and again,
Yeah,
I decided it was okay.
I saw your email.
Just saying. It's true.
We all received that just a couple of days ago. Kevin had some, Peg had sent in a resolution. Kevin had some other thoughts and sent us back an alternative, which works. So we need a resolution to.
I'll make that.
The second. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna need a resolution to transfer. 20,000 from the Good Neighbor Fund to the Highway Fund. Really to be reimbursed later on.
I'll make that.
All in favor?
What is the Good Neighbor Fund? What is it? But why do we get money?
The Good Neighbor Fund is a fund we've had for many, many years. It's kind of a slush fund in there. Where we can transfer funds in and out. And at times, from time to time, we need to move money around.
How much is in it now?
I think there's about 96,000.
So the Good Neighbor Fund was generated from the MOA, the Memorandum of Agreement with the New York City DEP on the watershed agreement. And they gave each municipality a certain amount of money that over the course of the past 22 years has been in this fund, going to certain projects and different things along the way.
And we kind of used the money and then put it back and things like that.
I got confused with the, that Good Neighbor policy thing we made.
Yeah, that's totally different.
Totally.
That's
New York City is being a good neighbor too.
Exactly. This happened way back in 1997.
But you do eventually reimburse the Good Neighbor Fund.
We
Well,
keep it as
I'm
we keep it kind of as a slush fund. It's been there for many, many, many years. We also used it when we did some work in this building, which will get reimbursed eventually, and things like that too, so.
Is this an account that's drawing interest or where is it?
Yeah, I would imagine that it does.
Yeah, I would think so. I think I'm interested, yes.
Maybe we can get a microphone.
Again.
Yeah, why would we have something so much?
I agree. All right, just other info discussions. What's that?
Yeah.
We gotta get a proposal together. I wanna do it too, but I wanna do it right. Do it. Just a couple other things to mention, the Delaware County Clean Seat Program will be, at the Delaware County landfill on the 23rd for households and the 22nd for businesses. If you're interested in getting rid of old paint or any kind of chemicals, that's the place to do it, and you have to register ahead of time online. So. And as I said, the highway fund issues with CHIPS money we discussed previously, that'll be brought up more, discussed more at the budget workshop when we get to that point. Still working with, as I discussed earlier, we're still working with the local law for the fire inspections. And making some changes to that local law. What we would like to do there is we would like to try to include short-term rentals in the local law for doing fire inspections for businesses, which we've been doing forever.
Well, they're already in there. You need the local law if you're gonna go for
Right.
less than
Less than
3
3
years
years.
of inspected.
Yes. We may be making some changes to that local law when we determine what we're going to do with permit fees and things like that. Do we have a tire day scheduled, Diane?
You and Pat are supposed to talk and
I
set it
have
up.
not discussed it at all, okay. We've all received the water project costs to date. Mandatory training for harassment, we still have a list on that. A lot of people who have not done it. Just a reminder for everybody, we're doing the open house here at the town hall at 4:30 for the dedication of the town hall to Tom Hines. That's going to be on September 28th at 4:30. Dedication to follow at 5, to be at 5 o'clock. As we just discussed earlier, tentative budget will be at the town clerk by the 30th. We'll get the budget a few days after that. We'll have our hearing set up, or our meeting set up on the 3rd. Our October meeting is going to be held on Tuesday, on the 10th, instead of on Columbus Day, which is the 9th, and normally would be our meeting. And our November meeting will be on the 9th as well, which is the Thursday after election. That's all I have other than paying the bills. We're over this month. Any problems, changes? Everybody's happy? The resolution to pay the bills. I'll make the motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
With that, if there's nothing else, the resolution to the home, I guess. I'll make that resolution accurate. Ed? We're done. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.